If you thought the first part of this story, the secret wedding, the financial plot, was wild, buckle up, because what came next made the secret courthouse marriage look like a quaint garden party. This is the story of the fake honeymoon and the stolen diamond, and it gets even crazier. Remember where we left off? My son, Liam, and his new wife, Clara, had just confessed everything to the entire family at the most awkward dinner party in history. They admitted they got married secretly for the trust fund, used people who hated us as witnesses, and planned to jet off on a month-long, family-funded backpacking trip with the first payout. They confessed, they saved the trust fund, and the Asia trip was canceled. I thought, crisis averted. The money is safe. Liam learned a hard lesson, and now we can all move forward. Oh, how wrong I was. So incredibly, astronomically wrong. What I didn't realize was that the canceled trip wasn't just a disappointment for Clara. It became a weapon, a tool she used to absolutely unravel my son's life and almost steal a priceless family heirloom in the process. Today, I'm going to tell you the shocking revenge plan Clara enacted after her honeymoon was canceled. The unbelievable way she tried to ruin my son's career from inside our own home. How we discovered the diamond was missing and the desperate measures we took to get it back. This wasn't just about a ring. This was about a complete breakdown of trust, a twisted sense of entitlement, and a fight for what truly belonged to our family. And let me tell you, you are going to be absolutely floored by how far some people will go. The family confession dinner was a disaster, as expected. There were tears, raised voices, and a lot of uncomfortable silence. But Liam, to his credit, stood up and explained why he did it, admitted his mistakes, and publicly apologized. Clara, on the other hand, sat there tight-lipped and simmering. She offered no apology, not a single one. From that night forward, a cold war began in our house. Liam and Clara still lived in the guest house on our property, waiting to save enough for their own place, using the reinstated trust fund as their goal. But Clara was not herself. She was quiet, distant, and had a look in her eyes that sent shivers down my spine. The first signs of Clara's revenge were subtle, almost too small to notice, but they piled up. She started accidentally shrinking Liam's favorite shirts in the laundry or misplacing his car keys right before important meetings. She would cook his favorite meals, but then forget a key ingredient, making them inedible. She'd leave passive-aggressive notes around the house, like, "It's a shame some people don't get to see the world," or "Some dreams just die." Liam tried to talk to her. He said, "Clara, I know you're upset about the trip, but we need to move past this. We're married now." She would just shrug. "I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed, and I have every right to be." I dismissed it as normal marital strife. Everyone gets upset. Everyone has arguments. But Clara wasn't arguing. She was meticulously dismantling Liam's life, piece by piece, under the guise of being disappointed. What she did next, though, was not subtle. It was a direct, calculated attack on Liam's professional reputation. And it involved something so common, so everyday, that it took us months to figure it out. Liam works in a high-pressure corporate environment. He's a consultant, which means he's constantly on calls, in online meetings, and sending out important documents. His job depends on his clear communication and professionalism. This is where Clara became a silent saboteur. Liam started getting complaints from his clients, not about his work, but about his behavior. Things like, "Liam, you seemed very agitated on that call. Is everything okay? Your background noise was distracting in the meeting today. We couldn't hear you clearly on the presentation." Liam was confused. He prided himself on his professionalism. He always used headphones, found quiet spaces, and double-checked his audio. But the complaints kept coming. He missed out on a major promotion. He was put on probation. His career, which he had worked so hard for, was crashing and burning, and he had no idea why. My husband David noticed Liam was incredibly stressed. He asked Liam, "Are you sure you're taking all your calls from a quiet room?" Liam swore he was. "Mom, Dad, I even lock the door. I put a towel under it." David, being the meticulous man he is, decided to take matters into his own hands. He installed a small, motion-activated camera in Liam's home office, hidden inside a fake book. He told Liam he was putting it there to catch whoever was misplacing his keys, trying to make light of the situation. Liam agreed. What we saw on the footage was horrifying. Every time Liam was on an important call, Clara would sneak into the guest house. She wouldn't open the door. She would slowly, quietly bang on the wall outside his office. Not a loud, obvious bang, but a rhythmic, irritating thump that you could barely hear through the wall, but enough to register on a microphone. She would use a butter knife to gently scratch the window screen outside. She would even sit under the window and play really faint, high-pitched dog whistle sounds from her phone. Sounds that humans can't hear, but which create an incredibly annoying subconscious disturbance. When Liam was presenting, she would briefly, subtly switch off the Wi-Fi modem in the main house, causing his connection to drop for a second and then immediately switch it back on. Just enough to cause a glitch, a stutter, a moment of silence. She was making him look incompetent, agitated, and unprofessional, all without ever stepping foot in the room. It was psychological warfare, and it worked. She systematically destroyed his reputation because he chose the family trust over her fantasy honeymoon. We showed Liam the footage. He was devastated, not just at Clara's betrayal, but at the realization that his wife had been actively sabotaging his livelihood for weeks. Liam confronted Clara. It was a brutal argument. Yelling, crying, accusations flying. And it ended with Clara screaming, "I deserve that trip! You took it from me!" And then storming out, packing a bag and moving in with her parents. That's when we thought the worst was over, but it was only just beginning. A few days later, Liam was sitting alone in the quiet guest house, trying to make sense of his life. He picked up his grandmother's engagement ring, the one Clara had worn, which she had left on her bedside table. He held it in his hand, looking at the beautiful, sparkling diamond, and then he noticed it. The diamond was dull. It wasn't sparkling the way it should. He rubbed it with his thumb, thinking it was just dirty, but it didn't shine.
He took it to me. "Mom," he said, his voice trembling, "does this look right to you?" I took the ring. My heart stopped. I know that diamond. I've known it my whole life. It's been in our family for 3 generations, and this wasn't it. This was a fake, a cheap cubic zirconia replica. Clara hadn't just taken her clothes and left. She had stolen the family heirloom diamond and replaced it with a worthless imposter. I felt a cold rage like never before. This wasn't about a honeymoon anymore. This wasn't about a trust fund. This was outright theft, a calculated, malicious act against our family's heritage. The motive was clear: revenge and a last-ditch effort to fund her lost fantasy. But how did we know it was her? And how did we get it back? This is where the specific details become critical. Detail 1. The jeweler's evidence. The how. Remember my daughter-in-law, Marcus's wife, who works at the jeweler, the one who saw Clara buy the secret wedding band? I called her immediately. "Sarah," I said, my voice barely steady, "did Clara ever come in asking about having her engagement ring checked or replaced?" Sarah paused. "Mrs. Davis," she said. "She did. About a month ago. She asked if we could temporarily swap out the diamond for a high-quality replica because she was planning a surprise. She said Liam was worried about her wearing such an expensive ring on their backpacking trip, and she wanted to wear something less noticeable for a month, then swap it back. She insisted on a very convincing fake." Clara hadn't just stolen the diamond. She had planned to steal it before the wedding was even revealed. She had walked into that jeweler, spun a complete lie about a surprise and Liam's worries, and arranged to swap out the real diamond for a fake, knowing full well she'd be gone for a month. The plan was to return the fake, take the real one back, and then, I assume, sell it for thousands of dollars to fund her life of spite. The fact that she planned this before the trust fund reveal, before the canceled trip, shows a level of premeditation that chilled me to the bone. This wasn't a sudden act of anger. This was a long game strategy. Detail 2. The pawn shop lead. The where. Once we knew the diamond was replaced, we called the police. But they said it was a marital dispute, and they couldn't intervene without more concrete proof of theft, which was infuriating. My husband, David, however, knew Clara had a favorite little antique shop she loved, one that also bought and sold jewelry. It was a place she visited often, especially when she was short on cash. He went to the owner, a gruff but honest man named Frank. "Frank," David said, "has Clara been in here recently trying to sell anything specific?" Frank's eyes widened. "Mr. Davis, I was just about to call you. She came in yesterday, tried to sell me a huge diamond, said it was an old family piece and she needed to downsize. I recognized it. It's the engagement ring your grandmother wore. I told her I couldn't buy it from her without clear proof of ownership. I refused the sale." Frank, bless his honest heart, had recognized the distinct cut and setting of the family diamond. He'd even had a quick chat with my grandmother about it years ago, so he knew its history. He turned Clara away. She was denied. But she didn't just walk out empty-handed. She pawned it at another place, a more discreet place. Detail 3. The secret safe deposit box, the final destination. Frank told us that Clara, frustrated, mumbled something about knowing another place that wouldn't ask so many questions. He vaguely remembered hearing her mention a small, out-of-the-way pawn shop deep in the city's financial district. David and I, armed with Sarah's testimony from the jeweler and Frank's lead, went directly to the city's main financial district police station. We demanded to speak to a detective, showing them the fake diamond and providing all the proof. We also have the security footage from our house showing Clara leaving with a specific small velvet pouch that could easily have held the diamond. The detective, once presented with the clear pattern of deception and the evidence from the jewelers, finally agreed to investigate. They tracked Clara's movements using cell phone data from the day she left. And they found it. Clara hadn't sold the diamond at a pawn shop. She had in fact taken it to a specific bank in the financial district and rented a safe deposit box in her own name. She placed the diamond there, effectively hiding it. She wanted to keep it, knowing its value, and use it as leverage later or sell it when the heat died down. She wasn't just stealing it, she was holding it hostage. The police, with a warrant, opened the safe deposit box, and there it was, my grandmother's diamond, sparkly, brilliant, and finally safe. We had all the proof we needed. The jeweler's testimony, Frank's testimony, the security footage, the pawn shop attempt, and the diamond found in her secret safe deposit box. Liam, seeing the extent of his wife's malice, her calculated revenge and theft, finally realized the truth. This wasn't just a misstep. This wasn't just a disappointed wife. This was a manipulative, conniving individual who saw him and our family as a means to an end. Liam immediately filed for a legal separation. He gave her an ultimatum. Either she agreed to an amicable separation and the annulment of their short, disastrous marriage, or he would press charges for theft and career sabotage. Clara, faced with a potential criminal record and no access to the trust fund, finally caved. The marriage, which started in such secrecy and financial plotting, ended in a flurry of legal documents and bitter arguments. It wasn't an annulment because they had legally married, but it was a divorce that took barely 6 months to finalize. No messy court battles over assets because there were none to fight over. The trust fund, now fully controlled by Liam, with strict oversight from my husband and I, remained intact for his future. The diamond was returned to me to be held safely until Liam found someone truly worthy of our family's legacy. It was a traumatic, heartbreaking experience for our family. Liam was crushed, his career set back, and his trust in people shattered. But he learned a very hard, very expensive lesson about who you choose to build your life with. And Clara, she walked away with nothing but the clothes on her back, her reputation in tatters, and a permanent ban from our family. You might think that's the end of the story, but you'd be wrong. Even after the divorce, Clara tried one last desperate attempt to ruin Liam's life. What she did with a fake pregnancy announcement and how it almost destroyed Liam's new relationship, that's a story you won't want to miss. Click on the next video where I reveal the fake pregnancy and the final trap. This series has been wild, and that last part is truly the grand finale. Thank you for watching this incredibly intense and wild story all the way through. The truth in our family is always stranger than fiction.